If you can come to rest, finish your talking, please. That's excellent. Well, I am very happy to announce that we have a few more people come to join us. One is Anne-Mari. You all remember Anne-Mari? Wave to us. She dedicated her grandchild to Jesus yesterday, so that's why she didn't come until now. And of course, my wife just arrived, Alisa, and also my kid, my son, and his girlfriend. They're not here yet. Well, they're walking in town, so, but you may see them around. Okay. Are you ready for some really good time together? First, I would like to introduce to you Alexander. He was, I met him in Hawaii 3 months ago, something like that. And he told me some exciting stories about church planting in Europe. And I asked him if he could share 5 minutes about what's on his heart, because you may want to connect with him during the days that we are having together. He'll also be able to share a topic talk later, but that will be the last day. And so, you know, it's good if you have a chance to connect, to understand what he's working with and connect with him for the rest of maybe tonight and tomorrow and all of this. So, Alexander, why don't you share? By the way, if you remember, we had Paul Manwaring in the LTS. He's one of the guys who are in the scope of what you guys are working with. So share with us.
Thank you. Thank you. So first we have like a short trailer video that I want to show for those who haven't seen it yet. No. Where is it? It's on that computer? Oh man. Can you help me with it? Okay, thank you. Sorry, so maybe while they are fixing it, I can still talk. So yes, I'm a wireman myself, and I'm also on staff with Europe Shall Be Saved. And so I try to bridge those things, because we're all about partnering together in a fruitful way like Darlene described. So hopefully you can have a look at it pretty soon. Yeah, just play the video, then I talk. Yes.
Some say the church in Europe is dying. We believe God has another plan. This is a time of hope. Imagine millions of people in Europe turning to Jesus within the next years. Impossible? Definitely for humans. Definitely not for God. Imagine a movement. Imagine Christians from all denominations committing themselves to one common goal: to see the gospel transform Europe. Not another organization, not another network, but mobilization of the whole body of Christ. This is the time for evangelism. Jesus is the only way to the Father. The gospel is good news for Europe. This is the time for hope, not discouragement. There is power in the declaration that God is good. He wants to bring restoration into all spheres of society. Do together what we can do together. This is the time for unity. We don't have to agree on everything to work together, but respect denominational diversity. A transformation of our continent will not be achieved by politics or intellect alone, but by God's presence, by prayer and worship. Join us. Start sharing the good news with new people. Start to declare daily, Europe shall be saved. Do together with other Christians what we can do together. Stop speaking evil against other denominations. Believe for a breakthrough in Europe and pray for it daily. Are these your values too? Then join this movement and register at esbs.org. The best is yet to come.
Europe shall be saved.
Europe shall be saved. Europe shall be saved.
Europe shall be saved.
Europe shall be saved.
Europe shall be saved.
Europe shall be saved.
Okay. Yeah. And maybe we can all say it together. What do you think? Let's proclaim Europe shall be saved together. Yeah, are you with me? 3, 2, 1. Europe shall be saved. Yeah, thank you. So basically this is just a trailer, and this is a trailer for the movement as a whole. And there is room for each and every bit of the body in it, you know. It's because to do the whole work of Jesus in Europe is going to take the whole body of Jesus in Europe. So that's the basic truth we believe in, and we want to take very seriously this call from Jesus in John 17 to be one, so that the world may believe. So I'm going to move more into the practical. Next time I would advertise the breakout session, but what you can do now, it's signed in, okay? It's just, you will receive some emails that are encouraging, and look around the website. Look at especially the Harvest Cycle strategy here, okay? Those are the 4 steps, the 4 seasons we go into. So I just encourage you to look through it so that you can come with questions, and you can find me anytime around here. So I just wanted to show that out so that you have a chance to connect with me first, and we will move into a practical maybe during the breakout. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you, Alexander. It's good to have you with us. I was sailing in Hawaii with Alexander and his wife. That was fun. All right. Well, I'm very happy to announce to you and to present to you Oivind Augland. Maybe we all should practice saying his name. We can just do the first name, right? Oivind. That was pretty good. Oivind, he is a member of the YWAM board. So he is actively serving as a YWAMer today as a member of a board, but of course he has done his DTS and he has done his second level school, which is a family ministry school. And he is a remarkable apostolic leader in our country. He spends a lot of time counseling and advising church denominations and churches and organizations and anyone who's gone into a bad situation. He comes and he helps resolve the situation, giving vision, helping them find the way, and training them. And we used him for one advisory meeting with some leaders in Norway, and when he shared about value-added leadership, I realized that he was putting words on some of the issues that we had struggled to put words to in the LTS. And maybe some of you had this feeling that, oh, this was great about vision, this was great about how to have a godly character, but there's something about this how-to that I would like to get some more hands-on. And he just very easily described it. So I grabbed hold of him and I said, Oivind, can you please come to our 6th module? You can save the LTS by teaching your stuff in this setting. And he agreed to graciously, because he's a very busy man. Yesterday he finished training 50 50 leaders of church planting movements in his house and in his area. He is working as a pastor today, 20% only. He started a church, which is a big church today. He started several churches, by the way. And he trains a lot of people in church planting in a program called M4. Those people he trained were from 10 different nations, right? And I want you guys to connect to him also in the breaks, because if you're interested in the East, he was training 500 church planters in Moscow just in December. Leaders, actually, not church planters, but leaders in Moscow. So he has an enormous network all over Europe, and he is a very solid guy and has a lot to contribute. So today we are very happy to have him with us today and for the next 2 days. And as Oivind is getting up to get ready, we need to do some shifting around, because we need to sit with our people. If you are working with someone that are here, you should sit together with them, because it matters in some of the activities and some of the things we're going to be working on. So can you do that right now? If you're not sitting with your team members or co-leaders or something like that, switch around so you can do that. So you're already seated pretty okay? No? Then hurry up. So, have you found a place? Have you been able to move around? I wonder if we can have a church planter to come and pray for Oivind. Wouldn't that be awesome?
That'd be awesome.
We want one of Oivind's disciples to come and pray for him. So, Britt Solveig, why don't you come? That's good. Thank you.
Yeah.
I think Oivind is her mentor. Is that right? Yeah? So, sort of. So let's pray for Oivind. Stretch out your hand and agree with Britt Solveig.
God, thank you for this man and for what you're using him for in the nations, God. And I pray that as he speaks today and makes us work, as he always does, I pray that you will anoint his words and his, just his reflections, that he will help us to get hold of the things that we need to get hold of today, Jesus. And thank you, Holy Spirit, that you're working in us in this room, so that we can take hold of what you have for us today. In your good name, Jesus. Amen.
Amen. So as Oivind is starting, you know, YWAM, we are great in great visions and great ideas and hopes for the future. And sometimes we believe that if we just sing the right worship songs long enough, or get up early enough to pray or something, God will supernaturally act. Isn't it great that we have an apostolic leader that can come and teach us how to not only pray and sing the right songs, but also to work in the right way. This is going to be very valuable. So receive Oivind well. Thank you.
Thank you. It's really a privilege to be here. I met Youth with a Mission first time on the 25th Jubilee in 1985 in Copenhagen, not in Denmark, in Randers in Denmark. So I was there. And then I really got caught of the mission. And since that I have been a YWAMer in my heart for the rest of my life. Because it's really about mission. Getting out, starting new things, reaching new people, training new leaders, releasing them to new ministries. That's what we are for. Really knowing God and making him known. So I'm married with Linda. We have 4 kids. They are now 18, 20, 22, and 24 years old. One of them have taken a DTS at this time. I live in Kristiansand, southern part of Norway, and I'm a church planter, entrepreneur by nature. I like to start new things and get things going. But first of all, I'm a child of God. I'm a person that loves to be with Jesus and seek to follow him the best way I can and to be a blessing for him. So we are moving now. I will say 60-70% of the time you're going to work yourself. So I'm sorry, but that's reality. So if you put up the sheet you have got, the paper, and go to page 2 and 3, I send these. I hope everybody got the email. I sent it to you before, and where I present myself a little bit, and preparation work, action plan. All of you, or many of you, have worked already with your action plan 3 to 5 years, where you're going, committed to the direction, to your project, to where God has spoken to you and where he is leading you. So when we go out, we're going to pick that down and think 6 months, very practical. What do we do this next 6 months when we go out from here? So I will force you into a very practical plan for the next 6 months, or 6 to 8, maybe 12 months. Depends on where you are when you come to the summer. And then I sent some video with Paul, my colleague, because I'm working with Expand. That's in some way a business / a vision of people, like-minded people, that have a kingdom vision to see how we can help people and organization into dignity and destiny, or to find and fulfill their calling. So we are going alongside both businesses and organization and help them with the direction. And then we infuse or impart or influence with the DNA of value-added leadership. That we have tried to find words that is purely, what values that are purely biblical, and put it in words that communicate also with the business and people from outside the Christian community. And we have worked with that in 30 years. I've been a part of that the last 10 years. And I really feel it's a blessing to work and think and work on the leadership issues. So you saw some videos. I sent 2 articles. And overall goal you find on page 3. That was we sat down with a leadership group here, and we have some learning goal. And so I'm going to take you through all these tasks in this booklet, and you're going to work with it. And I'm going to put some time countdown, so we have 30 minutes of these, and 20 minutes of these, and 10 minutes of these. We put on some music, so we make it like a little pressure, a little high-speed working time with your team or individual. But first, I'm working on leadership. And when you work on leadership, I think this is our model. And it's one of many models, but for me this is a functioning model. It's both about character and competence. Some of you know that in 2 Timothy 2:2, Paul is looking for and talking to Timotheus, and he said, you should be looking for some people who are faithful, character, and able. Competence. So sometimes we say, well, the character, this is the important, and it's not so important with competence. I will say in biblical sense, character will always come from charisma, giftings, and all the things, because in the end, love will reign. So yes, in our setting, character will come first. But it's okay with some competence, isn't it? Because what you see in Christian circle, where you have high character and low competence, what often happens, people compensate lack of competence by working harder. Because their conviction, their passion, their commitment is so big. And they just work harder and harder. And then they get burned out. Or lose their sight of where they are going. But if you have some, like I meet in business, you have people with a very high competence but low character. You can feel the arrogancy. They fill the room with themselves. You know, there's no place for others around them. And you feel it. But for me, it's always about both character and competence. We need both, and we need to grow in both. It's both and. It's faithful and able. Faithful and able, both and. And there is another, what I call it balance between people and result. I know maybe in our setting it's not so, we shouldn't talk too much about result, but I like to talk about result because I think it's boring if nothing happens. So if you only look and have focus on the people, that's important. But in the end, if you are a leader, only create the best, friendful, nice environment, at least half of the people don't want to be there anymore. If they are led into something, result, something happening, something moving, something is getting done. The people won't be there. So we need to focus on people. We need to really help the people moving along, and I will tell more. We need to focus on people. But we need also, in business, you go happily bankrupt. You only focus on the people and not the results. In Christian circles, I don't say anymore. But you will only focus on the result, on the task, on what we're going to do, and not really work with the people, or you also get in trouble. But it's a balance. We need both and. We need to focus on people and on the result. There is a balance between them. And that's the background for this. When you look at that, I will say, I often talk on Christian leadership. We lead out from our identity, who we are. And as Christian, often when you can look at the next page, then you see everything, but don't see them. No, you can read if you want. But when you look at leadership and also read secular leadership, I recognize that a lot of that is very biblical because it's the biblical principle that function in the long run. And this is taken from the Harvard research, Harvard Business School research on leadership. And they will say that leadership, the people who's leading has a healthy self-awareness, or they have embraced their own history. And I think we as Christian leaders, that's where we have number one, because we can embrace all of our history because it's in God's hands. God loves us with everything we are. And that's my identity. I was 23 years when I was burned out because those who have a lot of energy, they give a lot of energy. But I was 23 years, and I used 1 year to really come back. In that 1 year, I understood that God loves me for who I am, not for what I do. And if I do not one single reasonable thing in the rest of my life, He still loves me. And that's embracing with all our history. We don't need to perform. We don't need to try to convince. We are God's children. And he has graced us with all our history. That's our identity. It's grace. That's where we live from. And I think for us as Christians, this is important. And I see many leaders in church planting who live with undissolved things in their life. And when they come in a pioneer setting, suddenly the devil just kicked the feet of the ground because they are not really resolved their own history. They know it, but they hide things. It's dangerous to be in a pioneer setting if you have unresolved things in your history. If God's showing you something, make it up. Do it something with it. Get help. Because when you're coming in a pioneer setting, the devil knows where to attack and where to put you down. Therefore, a healthy leader, he has lived with, embraced his own history and live reconciled with his own history and understand his own history. And also even the bad and challenging thing is made to something good because God has been there, taking care of it. About the identity is also my potential. I know who I am. And I think a leader needs to know who they are. I know my skills. I know my personality strengths. I know my motivation. I know who I am. I know my value system. Another thing, I know my motivation. I know my purpose, my conviction, the direction of my life because I'm in contact with it. I work with it. But I also integrated life host. I managed to balance and integrate my life, my service, my family, my kids, my different spheres of life. That's also important when it comes to leadership. And for me, I have my right support team. I know how to get people around me. All of this is something about who I am as a leader. We will not talk about this at all. Finished. Then when it comes to character and result, it's all about self-responsibility. It's all about me doing what needs to be done. There will be nothing of the project you are planning if not you take self-responsible for what should be done tomorrow, next week, 1 month from now, 6 months from now. Character and result is all about self-responsibility. I take responsibility for what God has spoken to me, and I start to, with my feet, put it out in action. I take responsibility. So if you're going to see something happen, if you're going to achieve some goals, if you have put some goals, it will probably not happen by itself. Or it happened because someone make it happen. I will come back to that strategy. It's all about making decision and implementing decision. This is, you looked at something. Okay, you can get it after. So self-responsibility. Another thing is social responsibility. That's character. Self-responsibility is all about discipline in your thoughts, your health, your money, your environment, how you deal with your environment. It's all about discipline. And discipline is a hard thing for many of us. But then it's social responsibility. That's all about character and people. And everybody, especially a leader, you have the responsibility to build trust, give respect, dealing with tension and conflict with the people around you, have courage to stand in the middle of everything and be there and create an environment and get the people really working together in the best way. That's social responsibility. And it's come from character, from my attitude towards the people around me. And people feel it my attitude. People read my attitude. People can see my attitude, the way I deal with the people around me. That's all about social responsibility. But sometimes I would say, if you have good character and have social responsibility, you get trust. And trust, I will talk more about that later, is so important. Because you can't get people to move with you if you don't get trust with them. And if people will move with you and have trust in you, you need to have trust in yourself. And the trust in yourself and the call that God has given you. What He has spoken to you. So trust is so important. And it comes from character, and it comes from social responsibility, about bringing the people around me and growing with them and really creating trust and respect and creating that experience of the people around me. But then, when your words is aligned with your deeds, you get respect. As a leader, I have seen many leaders, they have trust, but they really not respect. Because there's a lack of coherence between all the words they say and what really happened. You understand the difference? So they say a lot, but it's not really getting into action. There's a lot of words, there's a lot of promises, there are a lot of things that is said, but it's not really action. There's no discipline to really make it happen. There's no self-responsibility for all the words that's said. And then you lose respect as a leader. Because it has to be something that is aligned, both the words you say and the deeds you do. It has to be aligned. Because then you begin to say, but you can have all the trust and respect. Well, I don't think you get too much respect. But you can have a trust and respect and nothing happen. Because there need to be some skills, management skills, something that creates something that moves things on and get things done. And that's management competence or social competence. Management competence is really to lead the people to get things done, and social competence is to have the right people around you and release them into what should be done. And for you have this in your, this is a lot of competence area that I train in. We will do one of them. This area. This is what we're going to work with. Because they said character, don't think of it. The people in the room has the best character. We need to work with the competence side. So that's what they said to me. So we don't think of the character. We work on the competence side. So I want to do, now your first assessment is 10 minutes. It's on page 5. It's just for fruit reflection. I took out some of the more on the directional and strategic competence area. Reflect yourself and come up with what you see is 2-3 top strengths when it comes to strategy and organizational competence. Where do you see yourself? What are your strengths in this area? And then you do this, and then when you run 2-3 areas, you go with your leader, the co-leaders on the table, and you reflect it with them. So, go on. I put some music on. I put a clock on. It's your turn to work. Viktig, fyll ut først, fill out first, write your thing first, then talk. So fill it out first, write what you see as your strength, maybe if you have one weaknesses, and then talk. Not mix it. Fill out first, write down this, answer this here, question, and then talk. Okay, you finish to fill out, put some words down, start to talk. Good. 3 minutes more. Hey. So when we finish, the music go up and you will hear a sound. So, it was just a first reflection on more directional competence, strategic, a little bit organization for you. It's just to put some thoughts, start to reflect. What would that look like? Mirror yourself. And you're going to work much more with it. Very practical. Some question? No, thank you. No, just yeah.
Would you say to look at it in the scope of personal or leadership team of something, of a ministry, or a whole base, private base?
That's the challenge here. Because to my understanding, you are sitting here with a clear understanding of who you are, the project or the thing you're going to start or are leading. That's clear for you because you're going to work with that all the time. To my understanding, all of you have some project, something you lead, something you, either as a person or a group, that you're going to work on the plan for the next 3 to 5 years. Some are more new, but you have to understand, see yourself in your work, where you are now, because that's the context for all the things you're going to work with. So the context is where you are now and where you go. So the next, when you're going to work, you have to describe in the next, on page 6, the short vision description, your project, and then we're going to work with the ecosystem, your partnership. Who could be your partner to help you? So then you have to have a context, a project, something you lead practically, have a mandate to lead in your mind when we're working here. If you're not, well, that's what I thought I was a part of. You are leaders, all of you. So I hope that's understandable. So directional component is is the ability to ensure that a team or company organization develops sustainable and mutable objectives which are alive in the hearts and minds of the people. Because there's a lot of objectives that are not alive in the hearts and minds of the people. These objectives are the scales that both daily action and short and medium-term goals are measured by. The point is that, I will come to that. I define vision. That is how you convert your passion into productive action, strategy, plan, and decision that is consistent with your core belief. The point is, often, especially in oral context, we are very good at vision and conviction or motivation or passion, but what are the things that help these to really get to the vision? The things in between there are sometimes lacking. We have so much vision, big vision, and I like big vision. I just said, because now I'm leading something called M4, that's a training system that come out of Norway. And by accidentally, it went to Europe because it wasn't planned. We hadn't paid for it. God did something. And then I try to respond as much, to be as responsible I can to what God is doing. So to make all my effort, all my strength, everything I have to move with what God is doing in this. And now we are in 10 nations. Next year we are in 14 nations. We start in Ukraine, in Poland, in German-speaking Switzerland, in Finland the next year, within the next 8 to 12 months. And I launched the idea, what if one church is planted every day? What if? Now there are 100 around plus minus churches in the training in Europe, 110 churches in training. But if you go to 50 nations, 20 nations, what if? I don't know. What if one church, 360, one church were planted every day during the year? Wouldn't that be fantastic? I don't know. That's a big vision. I don't know. But what if? What if God wanted that? I said to them. But I know from there's a lot in between here. There's a huge amount of work in between of following up people, or creating structure, and making tools, and helping, and make available. There's a lot of work to do. And vision is how you convert your passion that comes from your conviction. But between your conviction, your passion, and the vision, there is what I call productive action. That is strategy, plan, and decision. That has to be made. There's a lot of things that has to be made. And I think this is often a missing part. You with me? Yes. There's big vision, like Europe shall be saved. I work with Christian Kuhn also, who's the kind of, one of the guy who's in that. There's a big vision. But you know, to get that vision you were said into action, there's a lot of work to do. A lot of work. But there's a lot of passion involved. A lot of conviction. A lot of God have spoken. It is. A lot of words we stand on. But the question is, who's responsible? God, we wait and see what he's doing? Or are we responsible to start to make it happen through the word he has spoken? I just ask you, challenge you. And for me, this is the place often where things stops. Between vision and the motivation or passion or conviction we have. I believe this is so important. For you, I did an interview. Listen, I did interviewed 120 church planters in Norway, personally. Someone succeed, pioneer projects, someone failed. When I listened in to 2.5 hours with each, that was some hour. When I listened in, I could hear the people who had a calling from God, who had a deep conviction, who knew, because they were standing, even with the challenging time, even through leaders was leaving them, even through the difficulties, they stood there because there was a calling from God. There was a conviction that God had spoken to them. But those who had not that conviction was easier to give up. Had easier to give up. And I believe conviction that God, a word from God, that God has spoken is so important. But that's not all. I believe a clear vision where you are heading is so important. But that's not all. There are something in between. It's to move people, yourself, self-responsibility, and some, what I call management competence, some competence that help you to move on. And this is strategy, plan, and decision. You know, what does strategy mean for an orchestra? Some of you are musicians. What is strategy for an orchestra? We will be the best orchestra, the best in Europe. Well, strategic decision. What do we have to decide today to achieve good result tomorrow and the day after? What are new things we need to perform, concepts, members, what we need to do today to achieve better tomorrow? And then you come to some action. What do we need to do today to generate good results? The point is that often we use so many words. But when it comes to the end, strategy is decision making. What do we do today that make a difference tomorrow? For me, strategy in reality is decision making. Strategy and leadership is to make a decision and implement. And often we talk and talk and talk and vision and vision and vision and dream and dream and dream. And that's the easiest part. It's so easy. It's very easy to do that. It's not hard. The hard part is to take some decision and implement them and do it. That's the hard part. You know, what is faith? Is it just word? Or is it action? Faith is shown through action. That we do it. If not, it's only good intention. Some dreams. Faith is actually putting one step in front of the other and start to do it. Because we believe God has spoken about it. It's to make it happen. And I think as leaders here, you're going to take the next day a lot of decisions that you're going to implement. And be accountable to each other for implementing that. So, next work assignment before, probably I need to look at before maybe, yeah, we have some time before the break, is this. Go to the next page, page 6. I want to write down, and maybe for some of you this is like, okay, we've done this, I know this. But even if you know it, maybe you could help someone beside you that really not have done this. But what I want to do is you write down the team we serve with. For some of you this is clear. For some of you this is one person, that's you, because you haven't a team yet. And then we're going to work on that. But write down the names of the people that really you think they are committed to the same project, the same vision that I am. We are doing it together. Write down the name of these people. And then, vision, short description. And I don't need all the nice words. I only want you to describe what have happened, what is visible within 2-3 years from now, when, if you succeed in what you have in your mind and God has spoken to you. What will be visible? What have happened? Write it down. What you see have happened. You understand that question? So, not like big dreams. That's close enough. What started a school? Have a team of 5 people. It takes 2 years to get a team of 5 people. Be specific enough that is kind of something you can hold on. And then, just you have the project description. But if you can't manage to make the project description what you want to do, in 3-4 lines you are in trouble, because that's what's needed when you explain it for the other. So make your project description into 3-4 lines, not much, not more. Make it clear, make it simple, so you can communicate it to the others on the table, and they say, wow, this is what we're going to do together. So, and then, you heard yesterday or day before, I don't know, I think it was Lauren or it was Darylyn. We talked about partnership. Darlene talked about partnership. I believe it's a time of partnership. I work in partnership with all kinds of denomination organizations. And in some of the M4 we have Catholic teams in, who's planting, who's doing new things within the Catholic Church. And you know, there is a time of partnership. And if you can't connect with the right partners, I think your work will not move as fast as you could do. So often now, in all of the business environment, they talk about ecosystem, about how we make strategic partnership that enlarge all of us to do better. And my question here on the page 6, there are you. Who are the 5-6 networks, churches, people, connection, other wire bases, whatever, that you could join partnership with, that will really help you to move faster, better, and further on? You understand the question? It's okay. This is your work. You have 20 minutes. Go to work. And use the time to work now. Don't start to talk. I want you to, everybody should have written down this. So, 20 minutes to work.
Where do you play music? With Spotify on your mobile, you can take your just like on
har du partner der, for der er du på god måte. Korrekt.
Nei, så det er halv på linje. Du må skal lunsje på det før.
So when you have written down, share with the others. Reflect together. If you are alone, share with another. Listen to each other. Ask questions. Challenge each other. So we take some minutes more before I do a little bit, and then we have break. So there is not break now. Okay. How was that? Thank you. One. Good. Was it helpful? I think it would be for you as an organization, for not you, for we as an organization, interesting, because I think you listen to each other when it comes to the coming to the ecosystem. Who could be good partners? I think there are ideas across in the room that could be helpful for each other. So talk about that. Who are good partners for you? Who could be good partners for me? And I think because that will increase your effectiveness, increase your maybe speed of growing if you find the right strategic partner to work with. So that's an important question. We're going to have some break in 7 minutes. There's coffee there, there's things, so there will be 30 minutes break, but a little bit before that. Okay? Ready for more? I need to. Because, and now I will use a language that you're not used to, I'm sorry. Because we use the word customer. And in reality, all of you have a lot of customers. In reality, but we don't use the words. Because you all have someone you want to impact and reach. Or you want to have people into your DTS or to the ministry or onboard more people there. Or so you have people. That's your customer in different ways. But often it's not clear. I would say like, I need to, since the leadership of Youth with Mission in Norway is here, I need to be a little bit aware of my words here. But, but I think we have a challenge in Norway. I think we have a challenge in Norway. Because we've moved that the customer group of Norway is only international student and not Norwegian. While they are we need to have more Norwegian on our DTS in Norway to recruit staff. But if we don't focus that, well, it will not happen. If we don't know who we're going to target, what are our customers, who we're going to reach, well, we will not do it. And I think it's so important to think through. Because we could say everybody. I was together with Dietrich Schindler on Friday. Dietrich is a German. He's a nice guy. He's planting his 6th church in Frankfurt. Number 6 church in Europe. He is planting 5 churches before him in Germany. Now he's planting his 6th church. And he is planting among high achievers, bankers and lawyers, the church downtown in Frankfurt, those who work 70 to 100 hours a week. That's a little more than some of us. So he is called a Journey Church. He's doing interview with 100 of them to try to understand their environment. Try to get into their mind, to understand them, who they are, to reach them with the gospel. So his target group is not everybody in Frankfurt. No, his target group, his customer group, is really the high achiever between 25, 30 to 50 years old, of bankers and lawyers, with suit and ties. So his service is on Wednesday afternoon, not on Sunday, because 50-60% of the people working there is living in another place. They are flying in, working there hundreds of hours from Monday to Saturday. They are home on Saturday afternoon and leave on Sunday evening from their family and back. From England, from all over Germany, from all over Europe. And it's an English-speaking church. Do they need a gospel? Absolutely. His value system in the church, it's just mirroring the challenge for the people he wants to reach. He knows where he's going. He knows the customer. He tried to know them, understand them, and get inside their mind and brain to reach them with the gospel. And maybe sometimes that's the challenge. We want to reach everybody. But if you not focus geographically, age, who we want to really, who our customer group, I think we are in trouble. When we work with this, now I work in the, I will also, it's always start with yourself, with we, knowing myself and I'm being inspired. On the page 7, you will see these. Who wants to inspire others first has to be inspired himself. It's Augustine who said that. And it's so important that we are inspired by what we're doing. If not, you are inspired, passionate, committed, inspired by the vision you have, you are in trouble, because then you are not able to inspire the other. You are not. So it's so important that we ourselves are inspired. That's the one thing. The other thing is that we know our product. And again, word customer, products, not so easy maybe for you to connect with, but I think you do, because you deliver something. You give something. You serve with something. You have something that to give. And you need to know what you are giving. No, it comes from your vision. It comes from your conviction. But it's very practical. What are you serving? What are the product you are giving? Is it a Bible teaching? Well, so be inspired by the Bible teaching. Is it a DTS? Is it a new thing that you grow up? Well, what are you delivering? What are you giving? What are the product you want to give to other people? What are the things you build that want to influence the other people? What are the things you have that you are so inspired about that you want to tell everybody about it? So they will give 100,000 euro to it. Because you are so inspired, you are so convinced, and you are so clear about what it is. That's important. Be inspired in who you are, but also what you deliver. But then it's important to understand who we are approaching. What are the group? Is it young people? Well, young teenage, adult? Is it in our area? Is it all the world? Is it some schools we really want to target because we want to recruit from there? Is it some, and if you not are specific or you think everybody is your target group, I think you are in trouble. I really think you are in trouble. You need to define 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things that are so specific that you can move towards it, that you can move towards them, that you can try to understand them like Dietrich did. But maybe that's mine. No, it's not. So the question, who are your customers? It could be from larger, like you are leadership of a larger base. It's both internal and external. And then the next question, what are their needs? They need Jesus. Thank you. We know that. They need Jesus. But what are their needs? What are their needs? Who are they? What do they think? What's in their mind? Well, if you want to reach artists, what do you think? What's in their mind? How do you help them? How do you communicate with them? If you are in the worship, so how do they think? One of the challenges, I think, as a youth with a mission, who also in Norway, is that we are not stopped, but we are leading too few people to Christ. All too little. because we have lost a lot of the really edge of evangelism, of bringing the gospel and preaching the gospel and leading people to Christ. Who are you reaching out to? Who is your customer? What are their needs? And from that, it's always building trust and understanding. You're coming from who you are, understanding your vision, your mission, where you see yourself, and come where you see yourself 2-3 years from now, as you're written down. I guess you're going to recruit some people. You're going to make things known. You're going to get out to some people. Then you need to know, what are you giving them? What's your product? What are you, we are not selling, but what are you selling? What are you speaking loud about? What are you standing up in the morning and saying, this is what I really want to give out? What is that? And then you need to connect with those you're going to talk with. And therefore, there are some questions that you're going to do after the break. And I'll come back to them after the break. Break, 30 minutes.